where do things stand, I guess, with Urban Meyer? Because he was the coach that we were talking quite a bit about him potentially being a game or two away from having a very long relationship that we all assumed was going to blossom, cut short, shockingly short. Now here's Gruden for obviously different reasons out. What is going on with Urban in Jacksonville right now as they head to London, which is a Bermuda Triangle for hot seat coaches?
Oh, absolutely,
Mike.
And especially with the bye on the back end, and for most of these London games, the teams that play in them have a bye right after that, and that creates the perfect storm for a coaching change to be made. It was only 12 days ago, and my God, it seems like 12 months ago, that Urban Meyer did not accompany his team from Cincinnati back to Jacksonville. And that's the unforgivable sin in my mind. That's the abandonment of his post. Tony Dungy explained it so well to me on Sunday. It's not just a matter of failing to go back with the team and be with them elbow to elbow, arm in arm as they process this disappointing loss, and then get back to work with those 3 extra days because you're going to need them with the Titans coming to town, as we obviously saw. But it's about responsibility for your team. What if there's a fight among players on that plane? What if there's an argument? What if one of the players decides he's going to speak his mind to one of the assistant coaches? Where's the head coach? He's responsible for everything. What if the flight gets diverted because of weather? What if somebody has a heart attack on the plane? What if there's anything that can happen? Where's the captain? He's nowhere to be found. And to me, that's the thing that is going to haunt Urban Meyer forever. And I know the people in the organization have been watching 2 things, Rich. One, whether to what extent Urban Meyer told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth when he was questioned last Monday by owner Shad Khan. And what are the Jaguars doing to confirm or debunk whatever story he provided? And then number 2, what happens next? What's the next thing that shows Urban Meyer's not fit to be an NFL coach? I mean, yesterday he was talking about they hope to have 250 yards rushing and 250 yards passing every week, which shows he has no understanding of how the NFL works. That's never happened. It's only happened in a given game 33 times since the merger. Nobody's averaging 250 rushing, 250 passing. And it just underscores that he thinks it's Ohio State versus Rutgers each and every week, even after he's gotten his butt kicked 5 straight weeks by teams that aren't among the very best in the NFL. So I think that it's not over, whether it's after the London game, whether it's after the season, or somewhere in between. It just feels like this all is pointing to one and done, or maybe less than one and done for Urban Meyer.
And I also, because I pointed out to my guy Brockman here, who's got a 18 months cage at home, right?
19 now.
Mike, so you understand, that it struck me when Urban said we're desperate, and then Trevor Lawrence yeah, we're not desperate, and he's like, yeah, well, we didn't sneak it because he's not comfortable being under center, being a college kid coming into the pros and all, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm comfortable with it. That struck me as when my kid's trying to split my wife and I on a decision, at home, and Susie and I, my wife and I, we have to get on the same page before we talk to the kids, and it's just it's a rule of tenet of parenting, and coaching is kind of like parenting, and the fact that they're not on the same page after that loss as well, and they're heading to London, where Shad Khan, as we all know, is as my parents would say in the house, he's a big macher. There in London, they're playing in his building, for crying out loud. Trent Krim of the Independents and all that world from Ted Lasso are going to be asking questions of Urban, that this has all the makings of the tinderbox. And even though the Khans and Urban are hoping this is just going to pass and they can get back to business of trying to grow this franchise, I don't see it, is what I'm saying right now.
No, you're right.
Mike.
And the question becomes, at what point does Shad Khan recognize through his own ego and vanity that he made a mistake? And we see that in the NFL all the time. And the best coaches, the best executives, the best owners understand that if you've made a mistake, the best thing you can do is admit it to yourself and everyone else. Because if you double down and triple down, it only gets worse. It doesn't suddenly turn around. And I think that that's what some of the folks in the Jaguars organization are watching and waiting for now. Will Shad Khan admit it? Because he's wanted Urban Meyer for like a decade.
Of course. Why not? And why not? And why not? That's why I'm so surprised about this. I really am. And, I've got a bunch of college people, and I'm sure you do too, and who got their ears to the ground there saying, why are you so surprised? Like, there's always been drama everywhere he's been. And I'm like, but I can't believe that it's no team playing. Video comes out, and the warning signs were stuff like what I thought was kind of funny that he told Vic Fangio that everybody's Alabama here in the NFL. Like I am kind of surprised we're in this position with him 6 weeks in.
I am, but I'm not, because for a guy who was never an NFL coach in any way, shape, or form, and I know here's what happens. Whether it's Chip Kelly, whether it's Greg Schiano, whether it's Urban Meyer, whoever it is, when that college coach shows up, I think a lot of people in our business assume that he's going to be the next Jimmy Johnson and praise him as if he's going to be the next Jimmy Johnson and hope to expand their potential access to him in the event he becomes the next Jimmy Johnson, that there isn't enough healthy cynicism to say, here's another one who's over his skis. Here's another one who doesn't get it. Here's another one who hasn't worked in the world of grown-ass men and thinks he can just show up and coach these guys like he coached in college. I didn't mention Steve Spurrier. I mean, Meyer is far closer to Spurrier than Jimmy Johnson. Meyer's a guy who thinks you can keep bankers' hours and you can check out and let the staff keep working, and there's not going to be any resentment whatsoever about that. And then you barnstorm in and you undermine this position coach and that position coach in front of the players, and there's all sorts of stories like that going around. I mean, Meyer thinks he can operate at the NFL level like he did at the college level, and he fails to understand the very fundamental differences, and he doesn't have the curiosity. I think he believes through his own force of will he can bend the NFL reality his way and make it like a college game. And it's asinine to think that that's even a possibility, because you can't go out and recruit superior talent and just line them up and let them do everything. You can call out the play. Hey, defense, here's what we're going to do. Good luck stopping it. That doesn't work at the NFL level. And it's those nuances. It's that work. It's the study. It's the strategizing. It's why Bill Belichick has to change the name of his boat every few years from 5 rings to 6 rings to 8 rings, because he's the guy who is the platinum standard when it comes to the connection between what you put in and what you get out. And Meyer's not putting enough in. Plain and simple, he's not putting enough in.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.